Ayubowan, Vanakkam, welcome, and very good evening to all of you. It is a pleasure to have you here with us for this edition of Mega Minds here in Jaffna, the one of the most populous city in the country. Jaffna's proximity to neighboring southern India and its strategic location, geographical location, makes it all the more conspicuous, making the peninsula a springboard for the excellent development through the application of proper policy and framework. To provide proper idea on all about it, let us commence the Jaffna Mega Minds program towards the future we dream. At the beginning, let me take this opportunity to hand over the floor to the former chairman of Ceylon Electricity Board, incumbent director of the World Renewable Energy Congress, and the advisor to the Ministry of Megapolis and Western Development, Mr. Vidya Amarapala, to deliver the welcome address of Mega Minds.
Reverend Father, the Honorable Minister Champika Ranawaka, the Honorable M.A. Sumantinan, Honorable E. Sarvanapavan, the Honorable Dr. Suren Raghavan, the Governor of Northern Province, Honorable, Mr. Pathinathan, Chief Secretary, Mr. N. Vaityagam, Government Agent, Mr. Emmanuel Arnold, His Worship, the Mayor of Jaffna Municipal Council, all the government officials, the political leaders of the Northern Province, the Security Force personnel headed by SF Commander General Darshana Hettiarachchi. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome you to Mega Minds Jaffna to discuss about our future, your future, and the future of Sri Lanka, and which we call Mega Minds towards the future we dream. And I would like to approach in a direction with a question. Why Mega Minds? In 2015, we got a new ministry and a new leader, a minister, to lead the Ministry of Megapolis and Western Development. He is none other than Honorable Partli Champika Ranawaka. He explained his vision and he looked at a foreseeable future which is 2030. And he also spoke of the current GDP, which is $4,000 approximately. And I remember he did mention, very importantly, in 2030, the GDP to be $12,000 per capita. And he said, this is the target. We have the National Physical Planning Department, the Urban Development Authority, and Sri Lanka Land Reclamation as the key stakeholders of this ministry. So we were all given the target and the objective. And we got a pool of experts, professionals, and leaders of those respective areas to deliberate, develop a plan which is implementable. Why? To achieve the GDP target. In other words, it's about 260 billion to be the total GDP per annum, which we enjoy 90 billion. The bridging gap was $170 billion in a matter of 11 years. So ladies and gentlemen, this was the Herculean task the professionals had to carve out from what we have on the ground today. And in order to do that, we developed a new national physical plan in order to bring this deficit, so-called as our GDP deficit by 2030. In this national physical plan, which will be explained in detail, I'm just going to touch very briefly that we have developed, other than the Western region, we have developed 5 very strategic corridors, which are called economic corridors. And why are we here in Jaffna? It happened to be one of those key corridors from Kilinochchi to Jaffna. So this evening is set aside to discuss what we have in our plans and how we implement those plans with a workable and achievable working plan. And ladies and gentlemen, it will be an interesting evening for you, and I hope it will be interesting for every one of us to listen to the professionals who will talk in detail about the manner in which the Jaffna and the Kilinochchi economic corridor will contribute to achieve this number in the foreseeable future. And also, it will be an opportunity for all those professionals, entrepreneurs, investors to see which direction the Jaffna Peninsula is heading and in which direction the entire country is heading, and how we amalgamate everyone's capacity and the strengths to fulfill this dream which we are going to make it a reality. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here, and may I wish you a pleasant evening and see you soon. Thank you.
We will now turn the floor to the Chairman of Urban Development Authority, Dr. Jagat Munasinghe, who will make a presentation on the UDA's plan to drive Jaffna forward under the National Physical Plan and Mega Mines Initiative. Dr. Jagat Munasinghe is currently the Director General of National Physical Planning Department of Sri Lanka and the Chairman of Urban Development Authority. Chartered architect and chartered town planner, he has been a senior lecturer, University of Moratuwa since 1999 to today. Director Postgraduate Studies Department of Town and Country Planning, University of Moratuwa 2007 to 2016. Head of the Department of Town and Country Planning, University of Moratuwa 2008 to 2014. Director of the Faculty of Architecture Research Unit 2012 to 2015. Graduated with Master of Science in Architecture from University of Moratuwa in 1993. Master of Town Planning degree from University of Moratuwa in 1999. PhD in Planning and Urban Designing from National University of Singapore in year 2004. A fellow member of Sri Lanka Institute of Architects, Chartered Architect since 1995. A fellow member of the Institute of Town Planners Sri Lanka and president of the same in year 2017. Has been leading the consultancy teams in the following projects: Master Plan for Physical Developments in Moratuwa, Wayamba, Jaffna, Eastern, Southeastern, and Visual and Performing Arts Universities in Sri Lanka. Development Guide Plan for Kandy and Gold Cities under Strategic Cities Development Project funded by World Bank, and many more township developments. Preparation of development guide plans for tourism developments in Sri Lanka. Plan for the rehabilitation and tourism development in Hamilton Canal area. Without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Jagat Munasinghe to conduct his presentation, National Physical Plan for Sri Lanka and Way Forward for Jaffna.
Ayubowan, Vanakkam, and a very good evening to all of you. Venerable Mahasangha, Reverend Father, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, His Worship the Mayor, and all the other members of the political career in Jaffna area and also from outside, and the Governor of the Northern Province, and all the other state sector officials, those who are present here today, and other members, other invitees, those who are with us here today. Please permit me to take a few minutes from your time to discuss about what we have done in the National Physical Planning Department and also in the Urban Development Authority with regard to the developments that we are looking for and the future physical development in Sri Lanka. What is the plan that we have and how we have developed it and what is expected from you and how can we go ahead to discuss all this. I start with this National Physical Plan for the first few minutes and later on come back to the specific aspects related to this Jaffna, Kilinochchi and the northern province of Sri Lanka. So my task here first is to talk about this National Physical Plan which we have been working on, and we have come to the last stages of it and we are at the final stage of it now. And I'm sure that most of you have seen this before because we have invited many of you to for several workshops. But anyway, this National Physical Plan is the broad policy framework for the national level physical developments decisions for the next 10 to 30 years time. So National Physical Plan 2050 explains where the lands will be conserved, where the urban development activities will be concentrated, and where the infrastructure developments in future for the next 20 years, 30 years time will be focused upon, right? Now, as said by Vidya in his welcome speech, now we have certain targets in order to get towards a national, towards a country, a developed country. We have certain targets. The government talks about all this. We have heard about all this because we need to have more employment opportunities and more income sources for our people. And also everybody wants a high quality of life, improved quality of life. And everybody expects a pleasant, safe and peaceful living environment. And also, in order to become a developed nation in future, we need to go with a steady economic growth. The target is minimum of 6%, but there are fluctuations here and there, but this is our target. To facilitate this one, we need a National Physical Plan. And also, in order to go towards that, to achieve such kind of a development, we need to have increased export-oriented economy and also foreign direct investment, because we have a lot of opportunities. At the same time, we need a lot of investments coming in here. And also at the same time, we are looking for balanced development, not only concentrated in certain areas, but throughout the country, the development has to be kind of distributed. It has to be a fair distribution of development activities and the benefits of the development throughout the country. So we need a plan for that. At the same time, when we go for the development, we cannot compromise the resources that we have, the kind of unique aspects that we have. So we got to have a development which is sustainable. For that, we need a plan. At the same time, especially when we talk from here in Jaffna, we are very concerned about our culture, our historic traditions, and so on. So we to preserve all that, we have to have sustainable development for that. And there are a lot of potentials that we have to explore. We have not explored it. So it's high time that we look for these ones when we go for this development. So with all these objectives, the National Physical Plan Development, National Physical Plan for the development is based on 4 principal guiding policies. The first one is about the conservation. When you say conservation, it includes all critical and unique aspects Sri Lanka, including the cultures, landscapes, and the environmental aspects and everything. So one of the key policies is that. Second one is to select the best areas which are most suitable for human habitation, rather than going into new areas. The areas which are most suitable for in terms of climate, in terms of available resources, in terms of infrastructure and everything. Third one is, since we have limited resources and we have spent lot on this infrastructure facilities, so we got to make sure that we optimize the utility of these available resources and available infrastructure. The fourth one is, as I said, we got to explore whatever possibilities that we have and whatever we have not used to the best so far. So this is also the fourth one. With those intentions, we have done a lot of series of studies, and this is the first one that is about the conservation aspects. You might find that this map shows that areas which are given in red are the critical areas which are for conservation, but you can see this Jaffna, Mana, and some of the areas in, good part of this northern province is critical for conservation because of these wildlife aspects and also forests. And also there are agricultural lands as well. But you can see there are certain areas which we still can develop, especially in this northern, the Jaffna Peninsula and Mana area, and Mullaitivu and Vavuniya. And at the same time, the second one is this areas which are good for human habitation. We have seen several aspects with regard to this one, and areas which are free from disasters, which have enough facilities, the lands which are good for human habitation, and also at the same time in terms of cultural aspects, the availability of resources and the temperature, rainfall, and all that climatic conditions and all that. With all that, you can see Jaffna Peninsula and the Hill Notch area is in a very good position compared to other areas. Of course, good part of northern province is not very habitable because of their criticality. But we can see this Jaffna area has very good potential for human habitation in future. Although it has a lot of limitations now, they can be kind of overcome with some strategies. So we can be happy about it. At the same time, in terms of infrastructure, available infrastructure and resources, you can see Jaffna and the surrounding areas, it has certain resources which can be kind of optimized in their utility so that it is a developable area. So we can think about it. And the critical factor here is that the water resources. We all know that this area has a serious problem of water scarcity. So how can we come across that? So there has to be reasons for that. There have to be some projects for that. There has to be some remedies for that. And if we consider the available water resources for future development, you can see this criticality comes into our mind. Of course, they have to seriously consider this one. I believe there are projects from 1950s. There are a lot of proposals from 1950s which will be realized in near future, I believe, because the projects, the discussions are going on, the studies are going on. So with those difficulties, with those kind of projects, I believe we should be able to overcome all whatever limitations, right? And at the same time, the type of land uses that we have, you see that out of all agricultural lands in Sri Lanka, this Jaffna Peninsula and also the Mana area contains a lot of paddy lands and also a lot of agricultural lands. And also when you compare it with this urbanization pattern in Sri Lanka, there seems to be a conflict. The one is shown in the map that your left hand side, the areas which are fast urbanizing. You can see Jaffna is also subject to that, while there are agricultural lands. So it is a mix between, we have to have balanced development with agriculture and also urbanization. So it has to be a very carefully done job. Then we look at another factor, very, very critical factor, human resource. They look at the level of education of these people in these areas. Now, the map to your right hand side, the corner, shows the tertiary education, level of tertiary, attainment of tertiary education. You can see, compared to the other areas, now Jaffna is also in a Jaffna Peninsula especially, you can see a bit of a higher level of tertiary education attainment, while there are a lot of people in other sectors as well. Compare this one level of tertiary education with the level of unemployment. Now it's a kind of mixed situation compared to the other parts of the country. You can what we have observed is that when we see this unemployment in the other parts, you can see that higher the level of higher education, that means attainment of higher education, tertiary education, higher the level of unemployment as well. But here, of course, it's a kind of both situations where you have unemployment at the same time, high level of higher education, at the same time, low level of higher education and high level of unemployment, which means that we have to have a balanced strategy to have people with higher education to be employed in more kind of modern sectors, like for example, innovation-based industries and IT and all those kind of activities, at the same time giving some kind of priority for the agricultural sector as well. So it has to be a balanced development throughout this northern region. This is what this picture shows. Right? At the same time, we look into this potential for ecotourism and nature and culture-based tourism, agricultural resources, fisheries and aquatic resources, mineral resources, and we all know this. All these are there in this northern part of the country, and at the same time, especially in this northern, Jaffna Peninsula area, Mullaitivu and this Mena area. So there's a lot of potential which has not been harnessed and which has not been explored so far. So we can do a lot with this. Then this is the vision that we have developed for this National Physical Plan. This is for the whole country. But let's look at the key features of the National Physical Plan. The first one is about this conservation, as I said, because we need to conserve our water resources, we need to conserve our wildlife resources, we need to conserve our sensitive ecosystems, and for that you can see the green areas which are proposed to be conserved with limited development or no development at all. Right? And at the same time, the second one is about urbanization. You can see these pink color items. We have proposed future urban developments to be concentrated into 4 main corridors. First one being the east-west corridor, we call it, starting from Colombo up to Trincomalee. This is the area that we can have the highest concentration and also the best possible locations for urban development. But at the same time, we have 3 more corridors. One from Jaffna to Kilinochchi. As I said, we have some potentials. With those potentials, we can have high concentration of urbanization in this part. And at the same time, in the south, from Galle to Tissa Maharama, and in the east, from Chengaladi, Batiklo area up to Ampar area. So these are the best areas where we can have urbanization, and we call them development corridors or economic corridors, economic development corridors. In addition to them, we will have 2 mega cities, one in Anuradhapura, the other one is in Kandy. And at the same time, there will be 9 main cities. From the northern province, you can see Mena, Mullaitivu and Vavuniya is included that. And this is the future urban structure in Sri Lanka. And out of kind of a sort of in-depth study that we have done for a period of 2 to 3 years. Then at the same time, this is developed based on, as I said, to make sure all whatever infrastructure and resources that we have will be utilized to the best. And this is also is ascertained here. Right? This is the part that we concentrate today. Right? And in future, urbanization and the population growth will be happening in these parts. These are the network of cities or the corridors that we will have in future, and we expect at least 1/3 of the population of Sri Lanka in near future, from 2030 to 2050 time, will be concentrated in the main corridor from Colombo to Trincomalee, and in the north from Jaffna to Kilinochchi area will have 1.5 million population, which is present today is about 5 lakhs, 500,000. It will be 3-fold in about 20 years time. Right? This is the expectation. Right? Then again about different towns. You can see this 9, as I said, the 1.2 million in the northern corridor, and main cities in the northern province like Mana, Mullaitivu, Vavuniya will have about 100,000 each. But in addition to that, there will be small town centers scattered all over the area. But mainly, our expectation is to contain at least more than 60% of the population into urban areas while leaving agricultural areas intact. Right? When we do that, just look at the contribution from the northern province for this national development. We all know that the northern province contributes the least for different reasons, according to the statistics of the central bank, and also land area is about 13%. So there's something wrong somewhere we have to see. And at the same time, we know this is because we have not harnessed and we have not explored the resources that we have, the northern province has. And that's why we have to concentrate more on this northern area and to get the best out of it. And look at the contribution, type of contribution. We all know a good part of this contribution to the national economy comes from the service sector. In whole of Sri Lanka, it's more than 60%. Here in Jaffna area also, in this northern province, it's more than 50%, 56%. So good part of contribution is coming from service sector, but still the agriculture sector contributes more than 20%, which is a kind of a good number, but we have to understand it has to remain as it is, and while we keep on adding to these sectors, other service sector as well, right? Then come to urban, when you come to urban development, now the Urban Development Authority has already declared 11 areas as urban development areas. In addition to this coastal area that is going right round, in northern province alone it comes to some approximately 160 kilometers or more than that. In addition to this, the peninsula areas and also the islands. So this is the area within the control of Urban Development Authority. The rest of the area remains within these Pradesh Sabhas and the central government, and also the Northern Provincial Council as well, certain aspects. So for the areas we declared, we have a plan and we have some priority projects which has been identified as given here. We have a large number of projects which I'm not going to explain each and every one of them, but let's concentrate onto a few one. This Jaffna city itself, we all know that it's kind of rejuvenating after this conflict time, and we can see a good change starting from 2010-2019 period. Of course, we can see a big kind of change is happening here, a big difference we can see today. So along with them, we wanted to plan, we want to have a plan development in Jaffna. The Urban Development Authority advised that. So for that, we did a lot of studies. The way that it has kind of grown and the way it's growing now, we can see it's a very peculiar situation, very different situation compared to the other parts of the country. It has a kind of a satellite, it's like a constellation of small towns surrounding this main town in Jaffna. So we have taken that into account along with this agriculture, and our intention is to make sure that all aspects will be looked into, like for example the environmental sensitivity, the cultural sensitivity, and the connectivity, and the people's needs and aspirations and everything. With all that, this is what we have come up with. We all know what Tirunelveli means. It means the sacred green land, right? So this is a sacred area. The whole thing is a sacred area. It's a green land. We want to make sure that these green lands will be preserved, the agricultural lands will be preserved. So the constellation will be there while preserving the green land. That is our expectation, that is our vision. And for that, for the Jaffna Municipal Council area, UD has already prepared a draft development plan which will be coming to you in near future, so that you can give your comments to this. And at the same time, there are a lot of projects that is implemented by other agencies. For example, the Water Supply and Drainage Board is having a proposal, and it is developing this now. And the Water Supply and Drainage Board again has this sewer project for the drainage improvement project. So in near future, Jaffna city also can enjoy this sewerage disposal system, which will be extended in near future. Phase 1 and phase 2 are in progress. Then in addition to the projects done by the other agencies, the Strategic Cities Development Project of the Ministry of Megapolis and Western Development is planning to improve its conventional or the traditional or the historic, the drainage system that encompasses a large number of ponds, about 21 different ponds, and also different streams connected. So most of them are gone and most of them are disappeared, but our intention is to get them back into the city for several reasons. First is the drainage, the second one is the beautification, third one is about this thermal comfort. For all that, they will be rejuvenated very soon. So our expectation is that, and not only just ponds, we want these ponds active ones. If these columns today can be made into ones like this, green and also active, lot of activities. This is our intention, right? And at the same time, there are a lot of streets in Jaffna which has been known for kind of many years, and historically they have been very active, but for some reason today we can see they have not been developed with a kind of good intention. What if we make this kind of streets, like for example given here is the street next to this station, right, into a situation like that. UDA has developed a plan for this. This is a kind of a copy from somewhere, but we want to develop something like this which is comfortable for people, whereas as of now it doesn't happen like this, right? So at the same time, what if we make this station on the hospital street into this with a lot of activities? So we have a plan for that. We are in the process of doing it, right? At the same time, the Jaffna will be getting a town hall project, which I believe is the kind of most expensive and the largest in Sri Lanka in near future, right? And the government has already agreed to provide funds for this. So the UDA is taking lead in this project, and it will be developed in next 3 years' time. So you can be very proud of this Jaffna, the town hall, which is coming as an iconic project for the Jaffna town. At the same time, this old Kacheri building, which has run down and which has been abandoned for a long time, is also under the strategic cities development project, will be restored and will be used for museum and also some government offices as well. We can expect something like this, something better than this, I believe, right? We can have with parks and green areas, so the Jaffna's whole city will have a nice surrounding around within the city itself, right? At the same time, we have UDA, Urban Development Authority, has proposed this multi-story car park and a bus stand at the ground level at the city center, where you find a lot of traffic. I mean, increasingly you find a lot of vehicles are coming into the city. Not that we want to encourage traffic, but we want to provide facilities for people to have park their vehicles in a designated place and have walking facilities, pedestrian friendly environment in the city. This is the expectation of this project. And in addition to this, the parking facility, there will be a commercial complex developed connecting the two bus stands and connecting the hospital. So that also will be a novel project that UD has already proposed, and it will be coming out in phases with the support of this, His Worship the Mayor here, and we will be kind of developing this project. The Jaffna Municipal Council is also supporting this project in this way, right? Then a bit away from Jaffna, we have this Dutch market. This is also a historic building. We want to restore this building and make it a better public facility, and that also is there in the cards in the UDA of the list of the projects that we have identified. And this morning we have, our honorable ministers have laid the foundation for this project for the public facility. So it is an office building project that is developed for the municipal council, and it's the joint venture between the Urban Development Authority and the municipal council. And also another public facility for different offices which are scattered all over the town will be concentrated in one location, so that the people will find it very convenient to get their services. And Strategic Cities Development Project under the Ministry of Megapolis and Western Development has selected several parks, about 5 different parks in different locations, to make them better public spaces. So you can expect with a cost of about 1 billion rupees, a few parks around Jaffna city will be coming into will be developed as your facility, public facility. You can enjoy them in near future. At the same time, there are several projects out of them. One road project, that is A21, AB21 and AB31. These two road projects are already in progress. You can see the progress, how they are going now, and which are presently not defined, whether it's 1 lane or 2 lane. They are not very well defined, but they will be kind of 2 lane, and also with public facilities, cycling facilities, and tree planting. Everything will be there along the street. So this is how it is, how the projects are going on. Our attention, as I said, is not concentrated, limited only to Jaffna area, but also outside Jaffna as well. So this Kilinochchi, we already have a development plan, and we are in the process of developing projects, identifying projects. We can see a good development has come up in Kilinochchi area as well, along with the new university and also some industrial estates coming up in this area. But in addition to that, tomorrow, the UDA is very proud to say that we have already developed this green park. Kilinochchi will not be a kind of dry urban area anymore. We will have a green park in Kilinochchi, and this will be open for public from tomorrow onwards, right? So this is some of the things that you can see on grounds, right? And at the same time, Vena is another location where we have focused our attention. Vena already got a development plan, which is developed by the Urban Development Authority very recently. It also will become to the public for their comments. And we have identified this a very good location with a lot of different potentials, which has not been harnessed so far. And it is also in the cards, and it also will be list of projects have been identified for Vena area as well. So they are in the process of being developed. And it includes the bus stand, which is under construction now. It includes some commercial buildings and some office buildings, some good road development projects, tree planting projects, and all that, right? Then Vaunia is another town, which is a commercial center of the region that also has public market development in addition to some of the other projects. I'm not going into details, but at the same time, I would say lot of projects are there, which is within this limited time, I will not be able to explain every one of them. But for all these development projects, we have a few things in mind, at the back of our mind. We want to make these projects sustainable ones with these 4 principles, as I said in the National Physical Plan. We want to conserve the culture, traditions, and the environment of this area, Northern Province, and this Jaffna town as well. And we want to make sure that we promote the quality of life of the people, and also safe and livable environment for everyone in this area. Third one is we want to make sure that we make use of the resources that's available and make use them to the best utility, optimize the utility. And finally, we want to make sure that our intention is to explore what has not been explored so far, especially the natural resources, opportunities, and also the human resources which are available in this part of the country. So that is our intention. With all that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much. But at the same time, if you need more information, you can always obtain them from UDA, www.uda.gov.lk from our website. Most of these projects are there. And you can inquire, and also you can send your inquiries, your queries also into the same website. We will be able to kind of provide all whatever information that you need. Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, now we are moving on the most awaited session of today's Mega Minds. The aim of this initiative is in no way intended to lull you into a false sense of quasi-development. The panelists present here today will try their best to explicate the ways and means in which these almost seemingly lofty goals could be achieved. At a time when public sentiments against the politicians as well as public institutions, all within good reason, let us endeavor to forge an ideological symbiosis, the dividends of which could be enjoyed by all. And to that end, let me welcome Honorable Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka, an electrical engineer, academic and visionary, if you will, who has made it to the Achilles of society, talking the talk as well as walking the walk. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Honorable Minister of Megapolis and Western Development, Honorable Patali Champika Ranawaka.
Good evening to you all. Venerable Sirs, Governor of the Northern Province, MP Sumandiran and Saravana representing Jaffna district, and the Mayor of Jaffna and other political representatives who are representing the Provincial Council and also the local government authorities, Secretary to the Provincial Council and other government officials, including the SF Commander here in Jaffna. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to talk to you about the new National Physical Plan and the UDA plans to develop Jaffna as a major hub here in Northern Province. And at the meantime, we need your feedback, your ideas, and our intention is to have a kind of a deeper look into our country's economy and our development. So Jaffna is main corridor, actually from Jaffna to Kilinochchi, is one of the 4 corridors that we are aiming to develop to achieve high development levels here in Sri Lanka. We all know that we are blaming each other, saying that Sri Lanka is a debt-ridden country and Sri Lanka need development, but we don't have much resources, and this has been a corruption-stricken country and feel like leaving the country because this country is not livable country or not livable cities that we have. But on the other hand, we have achieved lots there in the social sector, especially the few social indices like our life expectancy, the literacy rate, infant mortality rate, and things like that. We have achieved developed world status. You can see here, the USA, their per capita income level is close to $60,000 US, whereas ours is just 4,000. But our life expectancy levels are equal. So, in 1950, when we achieved our independence, our life expectancy is around 55 years. Now it is around 80 years. It is, I think, only second to the Japan in this Asian region. So we have achieved a lot. So we can proud of it. And also the Human Development Index. We all talk about Cuba. In Sinhala, I don't know much about in Tamil, but in Sinhala, Apiyanne koi pare pidal kastu giya pare. That's the slogan we were having. But in 2018, the Cuba and Sri Lanka both achieved same human development index indications, 0.77. We are equal. So whatever the way, the socialism or capitalism or whatever the way, we have achieved this much of human development. And also, as far as this environmental things are concerned, mostly we are now concerned about this global warming. Jaffna is one of the main vulnerable peninsula because of the salinity intrusion, because of the sea level rise, and also the water stress that is being experienced. One side it's kind of a drought and other side it's flood. So that water stress is now experiencing here in Jaffna and whole of Sri Lanka, and also this salinity intrusion because of this carbon emission. And Sri Lanka is actually the most carbon efficient country in the middle income territory. We can compare our things with India, Pakistan, and other countries, we are the most carbon efficient country in the region and in the world as far as the middle income territory is concerned. And innovation. In this region, we rank 4th among 9 countries. It's not a good sign, but we can achieve more, and rank 88 among 120 countries that have more data. What's our problem is our economic growth. You can see this. We have GDP nominal data, and Sri Lanka is just achieved 4,000 mark, and GDP PPP, that means the purchasing power parity compared to the US, we have achieved just 13,000 US dollars. So we have to achieve much because we are beyond the dream of a developed country in our lifetime. So this one aspect of our development after the independence. In 1959, assume our per capita income is equal to 100. Now it is 2,900 in 2017. That means 29 times more. But as far as the debt is concerned, assume in 1959 our per capita debt is 100, now it is 7,721. That means 77 times more. So during this period, we have achieved a per capita income level by 29 times, approximately 30 times, but at the meantime, our per capita debt has been increased by 77 times. That shows us what direction our country is now heading towards. You can see this as well. This is our problem. After 2005, we got a lot of commercial loans with high interest rates. Now, in 2005, it's just 4%. Now it is around 55%. So we have to pay much more debt in the time to come. In 2019, this year, the finance minister has to spend 1 rupee for development, and he has to give away 3 rupees for debt repayment. That's the thing. The 700 billion rupees for the capital expenditure, and at the meantime, 2,200 billion, 2.2 trillion for the debt repayment. And as far as the foreign debt component is concerned, it's around 5,600 million US dollars. That foreign debt service payment exceeds investment for Norachole power plant, Hambantota and Port City combined. That's the very serious situation that we are now facing. And I'm quoting this man. He is facing the same problem in 2015, the Argentinian president. He said, you throw a party, eat, drink and dance, but there's a day called tomorrow for repayment of your debt. That day has come, and we have to face this problem within next 2-3, not within next 2-3 years, within next decade's time, we have to face this reality. So we call our country is in the middle income territory. According to the definition by the IMF and other international monetary institutions, they categorize countries as low income countries when their income level, the GDP per capita level is less than $1,000, and lower middle income between 1,000 to 3,800 something, and upper middle income level 3,800 to 12,000. So the high income or the developed level is 12,000. Now Sri Lanka has enjoyed 4,000 US dollars per capita level. When we are going to achieve this 12,000 level, this high development level or the high income level, at the present or the current rate, we are going to achieve this level in 2014 49. So by way of the proper urban planning, we are aiming to achieve this target by 2030. You can see some regional figures. Our economic progress compared to the regional countries like Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, and Sri Lanka. In 1960, the South Koreans' per capita income is 158, whereas in Taiwan it's 150 and Sri Lanka is 142. Basically the equal status. Now the South Korean per capita income is 35,000 and the Taiwan is around 24,000 and ours is just 4,000. So what's wrong with us? We are trapped in the middle income territory because we had surpassed this low income territory in 1998, some 20 years ago. We has been there for 20 years, we called it the middle income trap. How we can tunnel through this middle income trap is the main economic problem and main economic question that we have to ask and we have to find answers. Why do we still remain poor? Where did we go wrong? And what is the way out? If you see the past eras, before 1977, we had adopted an economic strategy called import substitution. That means we tried to manufacture everything, we tried to achieve self-reliance in every sphere of the economic activities. Later on, in 1977, President J.R. Jayawardena introduced this open economic policy, an export-oriented strategy to achieve development. Now, we achieved something, but now we are saturated and we are stagnated. And we must say that the production factors, the cheap labor, cheap resources, cheap environment are not more in this country. We don't have cheap labor right now and 12,000 vacancies there in the Katunayake export zone alone. 12,000 vacancies. No one is there to work because we don't have cheap labor. And on the other hand, the other countries like India, Pakistan, especially Bangladesh, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia, they have cheap labor. And these entrepreneurs, investors, the foreign direct investments simply go to these countries because they enjoyed cheap labor where we don't have. So what would be the way out? What should be our new strategy? In order to have a kind of a philosophical look, this man, the David Ricardo, who was living there in England during the 18th century, he coined a new idea called the absolute advantage and comparative advantage to compete in a in a competitive world. What is absolute advantage? Some countries enjoyed absolute advantage over others. For example, the oil and gas, also the coal and some other minerals. Some countries have these minerals. For example, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, Iran, they do have these kind of minerals. So they have kind of absolute advantage over others. Some countries have kind of a comparative advantage over others. For example, Sri Lanka once in 1980s have kind of a comparative advantage over this apparel industry. Now our comparative advantage has gone. Now it's gone to the Bangladesh. Now Bangladesh enjoyed comparative advantage in apparel sector. So we have to identify what is our absolute advantage and what is our comparative advantage to achieve economic development. I must say that we have few absolute advantages. One is our graphite, the world purest form, and this graphite can be easily converted, easily transformed into a graphene, which is now using to produce battery-powered vehicles. And titanium, also some spices, example cinnamon. We are the only country that produce through cinnamon in this world. And also Palmyra here in Jaffna, maybe our absolute advantage compared to the other countries. But our main comparative advantage over the other countries are our geographic location and our population with high development index. In 2010, a person called Robert D. Kaplan, there in USA, he wrote a book called Monsoon. There he explained a thing, very important aspect of this world. He said, during the 19th century, the most important ocean was the Atlantic Ocean. The trade routes are between North America and Europe. And during the 20th century, the most important ocean was the Pacific Ocean, because the Soviet Union, Japan, China, and North America, most of the trade routes were there from Pacific, there from Japan, China, and the tigers of Asian tigers towards the North America. And he predicted during the 21st century, the most important ocean is the Indian Ocean. And we are at the middle of that very important ocean. See the global aviation routes, we are at the very middle. See the global maritime shipping routes, we are at the very middle. And also some initiatives by the global powers. This is Chinese strategy to connect Europe with the Pacific region, and they are developing ports, airports, rail networks, road networks, and things like that. They called it One Belt, One Road thing, and a $1 trillion project initiated by the Chinese President Xi Jinping. So we have to take kind of advantage of this initiative. And on the other hand, India, Japan, and Australia, even the USA, they form kind of a thing called the Pacific Partnership, Trans-Pacific Partnership. Later on, under the leadership of President Donald Trump, they rejected that idea. But even now, the Japan, India, and Australia, they are having this program, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Program, to develop this area along with the line of their own comparative advantages, to promote their trade, to promote their economies. So we have to take this advantage, our geographic location, to promote our country as a hub of Asia, as a hypercenter of Indian Ocean, as a new urban center between Dubai and Singapore. That's our idea when we design our Western Megapolis Plan and our new National Physical Plan. The other thing, we are now living in the 4th Industrial Revolution. Before that, there are 3 other phases. The first phase began there in Manchester, England, from 1760 to 1860. We called it Machine Age. That means machines are there to replace muscle power. The second stage from 1860 to 1960, we called it Fossil Fuel Age. That was initiated, commenced there in Pennsylvania, when John D. Rockefeller initiated this new age, the fossil fuel age, gas, oil, and coal age. Still, the 80% of the world economic activities are being fueled by the fossil fuels, oil, gas, and coal. In 1960, because of the semiconductor revolution and the microchip invention, we were moving into this new age. We called it information age. We can store data by way of big supercomputers. We can transmit data by way of satellite transmission networks, and that way we created this new world called the information age world. From 2010 onwards, we call this new fourth industrial revolution the smart age. In this smart age, a lot of new technologies, they are emerging. We call it disruptive technologies. They are emerging from various sectors, various fields, and synthesize each other and moving towards a disruptive new world. We called it smart world. One is nanotechnology, other one is biotechnology and gene technology, and other one is space technology and robotics, maybe the green technologies and things like that. So these are the new technologies that are now encompassing our world. And in Sri Lanka, we have to catch this new trend. We have to enter into this storm. We have to develop new disruptive technologies to achieve our development targets, because we have enough brains to do that. You can see that in United States, the IT professionals, they have to pay $8,000 US, whereas in Sri Lanka, it's 900. We don't have cheap labor, but we have cheap brains. So we have to sell it. That's simple as that. You can see these new trillion-dollar businesses like Facebook, Netflix, Apple, Amazon, Alibaba, and Tencent, WeChat, and things like that. All these things you can't imagine. Before a decade's time, would you imagine a taxi service, the global taxi service without a taxi? Now it's here, it's Uber. The decades ago, would you imagine a bank without a kind of a bank manager or the physical bank? It's there now. It is called Bitcoin. So the internet connected businesses are now encompassing all over the world, and few people which innovation capacities, day by day they develop new disruptive technologies, and they are now developing new world, new era, and we have to enter into this new era with innovation strategy. So our vision and our strategy is very clear. Use the geo-economic and geopolitical benefits of our geographic location, and knowledge-based innovation-driven economic growth, rather than using the old path of this factor-driven economy, and capitalize on the 21 million brains rather than worrying about 20 million mouths to feed. Capitalize on the fourth industrial revolution, harness the potential of sustainable urbanization. This is the nighttime Sri Lanka, the World Bank map. You can see that officially the statistic department declared that we have only 18% urban population, but in actual sense it's just 48 now. We have urban aspirations and urban living standards all over the country. We have achieved 100% electrification during my tenure as Minister of Power and Energy. We electrified this Jaffna Peninsula. We inducted new power plant, Utturu Janani, and we connected this Jaffna Peninsula with the rest of the country with high tension lines. So we have achieved 24/7 continuous power supply and 100% electrification. Now we have achieved 5G telecommunication network facilities. And also, we have now at least 50% of our population being fed by pipe-borne water. So and also at least 35, we have 8 million vehicles on the road, although we have 5.5 million family units. So our country is becoming an urban country, urban aspirations, urban living standards. So we have to have a proper urban planning in order to address these problems. So we initiated this work in 2017 to have a proper national physical plan. By way of this west-east corridor, we are going to open up our country from Trincomalee to China, Far East, Bangladesh, Myanmar and Thailand. From Colombo, we are going to open up our country into Middle East, West, Central Asia and African region. And the southern corridor, we are going to touch the global maritime links and global aviation links. I think you are aware of this Western Megapolis Master Plan. We have Central Business District in and around Berry Lake, and Aero City close to the Katunayak Airport, and Maritime City from Kolpiti to Mount Lavinia, and Logistic Corridor connecting port to airport through Keravalapitia, and Tech City to develop this new innovation technologies there in Homagam area, Administrative City close to Battaramulla, Industrial cities, 2 industrial cities, one in Mirigama, close to the expressway network, and other one in Horana, close to the expressway network, 2 tourism zones, one in Nigambo, other one in Bentara, and Plantation City, they are in Avisavel area, and the new transport networks, and also a solid waste management plan. And we have developed a new plan for Trincomalee as well. We have completed this thing in recent times, and we are going to implement it bit by bit by using foreign funded projects as well as the government funded projects. So this is Colombo Port City. We have completed the reclamation work, some 269 hectares, and now we are planning to put up kind of a new building to facilitate financial, banking and other facilities, so that the port city will be a new financial city in the middle of the Indian Ocean. New laws will be applied, will be inducted to facilitate parking of foreign monies, like in Dubai, like in Singapore. And also, this year we are going to put up new international school, new international hospital, and new international conventional hall. And also a huge natural park, which is 6 times more than the Golf-S Green, will be there. This is Port City thing.
Sri Lanka, the pearl of the Indian Ocean, the key link between the East and the West, offers access to a thriving region poised for accelerated growth. Rising from the seas of Sri Lanka, Port City Colombo is a large-scale reclamation and city development project. Undertaken jointly by China Communications Construction Company, a Fortune 500 company, and the government of Sri Lanka. Spanning 269 hectares, Port City Colombo, when fully developed, will have a total gross floor area of more than 5.65 million square meters. A modern city where people can work, live, and play. The government of Sri Lanka is actively working on turning this into an international financial city. With new commercial legislation modeled after British laws, coupled with preferential tax, custom, immigration regulations, and other attractive policies, Port City Colombo will attract top multinational corporations and global talent. a state-of-the-art convention and exhibition center capable of hosting large-scale international events, will position Port City Colombo as the new hub for business and MICE activities in the region. Port City Colombo will also be the pioneer of the smart city concept in Sri Lanka, where IT expertise using cloud computing and the latest cutting-edge technology creates a seamless living environment, making smart living, smart working, and smart estate management a reality. Port City Colombo has adopted the latest sustainable city concepts with emphasis on a people-friendly environment using the transit-oriented developments concept to minimize commuting, further enhances the project's sustainability. Port City Colombo will be the most livable city and desired travel destination in the South Asian region, with a 2-kilometer sandy beach, a water channel that flows through the middle of the city, a central park with lush greenery and park connectors traversing across its length and breadth, with the best of healthcare and education. Port City Colombo will be amongst the very best top international cities, world-class hospitality, integrated resort and theme park, a retail destination that is home to the best of international brands and local retailers, a luxury marina, will make Port City Colombo a top tourist destination. Building a world-class city for South Asia. Port City Colombo.
Okay, this is our hope, and as I told you, we have completed the reclamation work, and building and constructing new buildings will be commenced in this year, and we will complete the 4 buildings I have already mentioned by 2024, and the new park will be available for the public from 2021. And the other thing is the tech city. This is a new strategy to adapt this innovation strategy towards a knowledge-based economy. We have already established 11 science-based institutions there. 1 nanotechnology institution, 1 biotechnology institution, and 1 space technology institution, and 4 technology faculties actually related to the government universities, Colombo, Moratuwa, Jawaharlal and Kelaniya. And we are going to introduce a few other private-oriented science museum, incubation center, and also kind of a park, that is industrial park, which is related to these innovation things that have been there in the tech city. It is now under construction, and we hope that by 2025 we will have a proper technology city with new inputs for the economic development of this country. And the central business district in and around Berry Lake, and it is to connect the Colombo Port and PETA area and Colombo Port City and Berry Lake waterfront. And also we are now relocating the Manning Market to Paliagoda so that we have a proper multimodal transport hub in PETA, and preservation of historic buildings there in the port area. You can see these changes there in the Berry Lake area. In 2018, we have relocated 400 shanties and underserved families who are living there in the Berry Lake area towards a decent housing schemes that we have built, and we are now having this linear park in and around Berry Lake. And Berry Lake and surrounding areas will be developed as new business district of Sri Lanka. And also, because of the messy urbanization, we are now having very serious congestion pressures. You know that our vehicle fleet is now around 8 million. We have only 5.5 million families. We are having very serious congestion pressures. So our strategy was to promote expressways and also to develop highways to address these congestion pressures. But we now realize that we can't move towards that road. We have to address this issue fundamentally, and the root cause is our population density, and our country is very small compared to the other countries, so we have to somehow develop our public mode of transportation. The Enrique Peñalosa, former mayor of Bogota, Colombia, he said that a developed country is not a place where the poor have cars. It's where the rich ride public transportation. The rich who are using the rail and buses will tell world that the country is rich. So we went into our national master plan, and we find that we have to develop a new rail network. We called it light railway network, and we have identified few corridors. Now the first corridor is from Kaduvelu to Peta area, and loan will be signed next month with the JICA funds. We hope that we will be able to complete this whole project by 2024, and another new 3 corridors have been already identified. These 3 corridors will be developed using private funds, and it's actually a private-public partnership. And at the meantime, we are trying to promote bus services. The final aim is to introduce bus rapid transit system in and around Colombo, and we have already introduced this bus priority lanes, and also trying to introduce a new internet connected card system. We called it Sahasara. Our pilot project is there in Mahanuwara, and we have kind of new ideas to develop this thing, and MCC, the Millennium Challenge Corporation, is helping us to develop these ideas and implement these things. And we are now trying to modernize our bus service and implement this thing using internet. And our new idea is to have the multimodal transport hubs where the rail network, the light railway network, buses and private vehicles meet each other and facilitate each other. The first one of these multimodal transport hub will be declared open there in Makumbura. It has been now completed, and we hope that in the near future we will be able to have one in Kadawatha, one in 18-mile post Katunayaka, the big one there in Battaramulla and Kandy, and also the biggest one there in the Peta area. And also we are trying to promote these ideas here in Jaffna as well. Administrative city. Close to Parliament, now the UDA is putting up few high-rise buildings because the 113 government departments and other institutions there in Colombo city, we are trying to relocate all these institutions there in Battaramulla area by 2025. A maritime city. From Kolpiti to Dehiwala, we are trying to reclaim land and putting up new city called a maritime city, a recreational beachfront. And also at the meantime, we are resolving the congestion pressures of messy urbanization. One is flood, other one is waste, and other one is the underserved families. And we know that in 2017, we had faced a very tragic situation in Meetotamulla. Meetotamulla open waste dump collapsed and killed 33 innocent people. Thereafter, the Colombo waste collection went beyond control. A lot of dengue cases and entire city was congested and contaminated with the waste. So the government tasked these things to our ministry, and we had developed our own methods to segregate waste, new collection methods and recycling methods, and new dumping methods. So we are now running a new semi-scientific waste dumping yard in Kerolapitiya and a scientific waste dump in Aruwakkaru. We have already completed the first phase, and any municipal council who wants to dump their waste, they can hand over their waste to the Aruwakkaru central landfill, so that the waste will be treated scientifically. This is how we handle the waste problem there in Colombo city limits. The notified dengue cases reduced as we collected waste in an efficient manner. The other very interesting and ambitious plan is to have the shanty-free city there in Colombo. We called it Urban Regeneration Plan, and we have already put up 15,000 new housing units, and by the end of 2020, we will be completing 20,000, and we hope that by 2024, we can give 40,000 units, and Colombo will be a shanty-free city. And at the meantime, we are developing middle-income housing as well. I think in Jaffna, we too should develop middle-income housing schemes to facilitate the middle-income families. And also, I am proud to say that our institution under our ministry, we have achieved a lot of financial progress. We are not depending on the general treasury. In 2015, the UDAs, the total revenue is 2,200 million. Now it is 4,800, nearly double. And profit 4 times. And our SLRDC in 2015, it was running at a loss, and the revenue was around 2,500 million. Now it is 7,800, 3 times more. And water sewage, our revenue simply doubled, and also our LRDC security services, its revenue also doubled. So we gave kind of an example to the other ministries, other institutions, how to govern government institution without burdening treasury and without burdening our taxpayers. So we wanted to introduce this country a new concept called the scientific governance. We experienced kind of a cheap populist slogans. In 1965, Prime Minister Dudley Senanayake simply declared that he would give 1 kilo of rice free of charge. In 1970, Mrs. Bandaranayake, her promise was to give 2 kilos of rice free of charge. Hal seru deka denawa. In 1978, then opposition leader J.R. Jayawardena promised to the nation that he would give 8 kilos of grains free of charge. That kind of cheap populist ideas created this problem, created this debt problem, created our economic woes. So we have to adopt new scientific methods, new scientific way of governance to achieve these new development targets and in this competitive era. For example, health, education, energy, transportation. We have very limited resources, very limited amount of capital expenditure. So we have to decide on whether we promote doctors or specialists, whether we promote nurses or paramedics. In education, we have to choose between whether we promote primary education or we promote tertiary education or research and development sectors. In energy field, we have to decide what we are going to promote, fossil fuels or renewable energy, and upstream development of upstream development of gas resources or gas importation. New power plant was demand management. In transportation, we have to take these decisions. Expressways was national highways, public transport was private transport modes. That kind of argument, that kind of way of scientific looking into these problems will solve our problems. For example, in 2004, the specialist warned the Katunayake airport would reach its maximum capacity in 2014, 200 aeroplanes per day. So we had to implement the second runway. Instead, we built a new runway and airport there in Mattal. Now the Katunayake airport reached its capacity, and we can't move ahead because of these physical constraints there in our airport. There in Mattala, the revenue in 2018, the revenue is around 14 million, whereas the expenditure is 5,600 million, 395 times more. If we put up the second runway there in Katunayake at the expense of this Mattala thing, we would have actually achieved what we have invested there in Mattala within 6 years' time. That is the ROI. This simply shows our inefficient and also unscientific manner that we are handling our national resources and national priorities. So, if we are to achieve a developed country, we have to adapt these three principles: inclusivity, meritocracy, and sustainability. Inclusivity means leaving no one behind, converting the marginalized social groups into vital human capital and their effective integration into the socio-economic mainstream. No more marginalized slum dwellers, beggars, and meritocracy. The Sri Lankan problem is the battle between meritocracy and nepotism or cronyism. There is a saying there in Arab world, there are two diseases which transmitted sexually. One is AIDS, other one is family bandism. This trend can be reversed only by introducing meritocracy and deliverology to each ministry and each government institution in this country. And also the sustainability. Because of the environmental concerns, we have to adopt this sustainability concept to balance between our precise environment and development. So, this is the end of my presentation. My humble aim is to address few deep-rooted issues that our economy and society that is prevailing here in Sri Lanka. I think you all are very able, very learned people here in ancient city of Jaffna. I think you all can contribute to this country's development by way of introducing these new concepts like meritocracy, sustainability, and inclusivity. I thank you.
From here onwards, we open the floor to discuss with you people, Q&A sessions and the queries and your suggestions towards the Megaminds initiative and the development of Jaffna Peninsula. So let me invite Mr. Vidya Amarapala, who will be serving as the moderator during the panel discussion, which is about to commence now. To represent the panel, I would like to respectively invite following dignitaries, Honorable Sirs, to present the panel. Honorable Minister Partli Champika Ranavaka, Honorable Member of Parliament, M.A. Sumandiran, Honorable Member of Parliament E. Saravana Pavan, Governor of Northern Province Dr. Suren Raghavan, Mayor of Jaffna, His Worship Emmanuel Arnold, the Chairman of UDA Dr. Jagat Munasinghe, and the District Secretary Mr. N. Vedanayagam. I would like to invite to present the panel, and also I would like to invite to moderate the program, the panel, to Mr. Vidya Amarapala. So I would like to kindly request the participant gathered here today. You are free to present any language of questions to the panelists, and your concerns and the criticisms are also welcome. So over to you, Mr. Vidya.
Vanakkam, good evening, Reverend Sirs, ladies and gentlemen. I did say in my conclusion, see you. This is exactly what I meant. I will see you again before we adjourn this session for dinner. Now, as the Compeer mentioned, we have an open house, and everyone's comments, suggestions, proposals, criticisms are very welcome. We are here to pick ideas, thoughts from the ground, and we love to work with the ground signals. And we have a very eminent panel starting from the Chairman, Urban Development Authority, to the government agent, Chief Secretary, and the political leadership of Jaffna. So we also have the provision to send your question by way of short message service, SMS, or there are mics, few mics that will be passed around for anyone to get up and pose the question to the panel here. And the number to send SMSs are 0777 54 2020. And may I now invite the audience to take the opportunity.
வணக்கம். நான் நினைக்கின்றேன் இது ஒரு முக்கியமான இரவாக இருக்க போகின்றது. எங்களுடைய எதிர்காலத்தை குறித்து சில முக்கியமான தீர்மானங்கள் எடுக்க வேண்டிய சந்தர்ப்பத்திலே நாங்கள் நிற்கின்றோம். அது விழுந்து போன ஒரு தேசத்தின் விளிம்பிலே இருக்கின்ற மக்களுடைய எதிர்பார்ப்புகளும் அபிலாஷைகளும் பூர்த்தி அடைகின்ற ஒரு பாதையாகவே இருக்க வேண்டும். இங்கே அரசியல் தலைவர்கள் இருக்கிறார்கள், நிபுணர்கள் இருக்கின்றார்கள், சமுதாய கரிசனை கொண்ட குடிமக்கள் இருக்கின்றார்கள். ஆகையினாலே மொழியை ஒரு தடையாக வைக்காமல் உங்களுக்கு இலகுவான மொழியிலே உங்கள் கேள்வியை அல்லது உங்கள் வினாக்களை தொடக்க வேண்டும் என்று நான் கேட்கின்றேன். භාෂාව බාධකයක් කරගන්නට එපා මේ සාකච්ඡාව ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නට. මම හිතන්නේ භාෂාව නිසා අර්බුදයකට ගිය જાතියක් අපි. භාෂාව මම හිතන්නේ අපිට පුළුවන් ඒක මේ මොහොතේදී මේවා කරගන්න. අපිට පිටිපස්සෙත් ඉන්නවා භාෂා පරිවර්තකයෙක්. ඒක නිසා ඔබට පහසු භාෂාවෙන් ඔබේ ගැටලුව එහෙම නැත්නම් යෝජනාව ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න.
Thank you. Mic pass mic.
Honorable Minister Sambika Ranawaka, actually I want to focus only one question. I don't want to
May I
take
interrupt you, sir? I would like you to introduce yourself first so that we all know who you are.
Professor Balasundaram Pillai, former Vice Chancellor of Jaffna University. Now my question is my suggestion, in Sri Lanka, the public transport is in a very bad shape in this country. Now, particularly when you are developing in Jaffna Peninsula, I am advocating you go for a circular railway line. Because already we have a railway from Kankesanture to Jaffna and Jaffna to Kodigamam. If you can link with Kodigamam to Point Petro and Point Petro to Kankesanture, then we can have a circular line. We can save a lot of money and we can save the agricultural land, various other facilities. So I have written an article. Also I am advocating, I am telling this is a railway line, only 15 kilometer, and it's a plain land. The cost will be very minimum. It is going through the plain area, so you can think over, please.
Thank you very much. May I invite Chairman UDA to just respond to that, please?
Yeah, thank you very much for your idea. Of course, the Urban Development Authority is preparing a kind of development plan for the whole of the Peninsula area. So when we come to the kind of public asking for comments, of course, your ideas are welcome. And you can kind of send your article that you said that you have published, of course, to the UDA. We will really consider that. Thank you very much.
And also, we have passed on a form, a piece of paper for everyone to contribute with any of the ideas that you may have to develop your own area. When I say own area, the Jaffna Peninsula, there are several, Grama Sevaka divisions and so on and so forth. So it is 984. 984. Okay. So you're very welcome. It could be a tiny development proposal, and that might add a lot of value to the master plan. Thank you.
வணக்கம் சார். இப்பொழுது இந்த நிகழ்விலே நாங்கள் பார்த்தோம், இந்த நகரமயமாதல், வசதிகள் அதிகரித்தலிட்டு நாங்கள் மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகிறோம். அதே வேளையிலே இப்போ நான் என்ன பொறுத்தவரை தனிப்பட்ட பயப்படுவது என்னவென்றால், யாழ்ப்பாணத்துக்கு இன்று ஒரு நாளைக்கு ஒரு மாதம் 10 கோடி ரூபா பெறுமதியான குடிநீர் போத்தல்கள் வந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றது என்று சொல்லி ஒரு செய்தி நான் வாசித்தேன். எங்களுடைய யாழ்ப்பாணத்திலே நல்ல கிணறுகள் இருக்கின்றது. சுண்ணாம்பு பாறையிலே வடித்து நாங்கள் இயற்கையாக எமது பாட்டன் காலத்திலிருந்து குடித்து கொண்டு வந்தோம். அது இன்று மாசடைந்து விட்டது என்ற தோரணையிலே அது வந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றது. இந்த மாசடைய போன்ற ஒரு பெரிய ஒரு அபாயம் எமது மக்கள் புரியாமல் நாங்கள் நகரமயமாதல் என்றதுக்கு மாறிக்கொண்டிருக்கின்றோம். அடுத்தது காற்று, பிராணவாயு, எமது உயிர் வாயு மாசடைந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றது. இந்த புகை மற்றும் கழிவுகளாலே மாசடைந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றது. நிலம் மாசடைந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றது. நீர் மாசடைந்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றது. இதற்கு என்ன விடை சொல்ல டெல்லியிலே சென்னையிலே தண்ணி குடிக்க முடியாது. இதே நிலை யாழ்ப்பாணத்துக்கும் வருமா? நாங்கள் முன்னேறுவதென்பது தண்ணி குடிக்கவும் சுவாசிக்கவும் முடியாமல் நோய்வாய்ப்படுவதால் பிரயோசனம் இல்லை. அதையும் தயவு செய்து கவனத்திற்கு எடுக்க வேண்டும். போத்தில் தண்ணி யாழ்ப்பாணத்துக்கு உண்மையில் தேவையில்லை. தண்ணியை முன்னோர்கள் பல காலம் குடித்து கொண்டு வந்தார்கள். அடுத்தது நான் இன்னொரு முக்கியமான விடயம், இந்த நெல்லியடி பிரதேசத்திலே வடமராட்சி தெற்கு மேற்கு பிரதேச சபையிலே நெல்லியடி டவுனுக்கு ஒரு பக்கத்திலே ஒரு வாகன சுத்திரிப்பிலேயே ஒருவர் அனுமதி போட்டு கொண்டு வருகிறார். பிரதேச சபை அனுமதி மறுத்தும் அவர் சட்டவிரோதமாக அதை தொடர்ந்து செய்து கொண்டிருக்கிறார். இப்போ இதுக்கு நாங்கள் என்ன செய்வது? நாங்கள் இது சம்பந்தமாக அரசாங்க அதிபரிடம் கதைத்திருக்கின்றோம். இது சம்பந்தமாக போலீஸ் நிலையத்துக்கு அறிவித்திருக்கின்றோம். பிரதி போலீஸ் மாதிரிக்கு அறிவித்திருக்கின்றோம். சம்பந்தப்பட்ட எல்லோருடன் தொடர்பு கொண்டும் அவர் சொல்கின்றார், தான் அனுமதியின்றியும் தான் அதை செய்வேன். பக்கத்திலே ஒரு 10 மீட்டருக்குள்ளே நிறைய வீடுகள் கிணறுகள் இருக்கின்றது. தான் செய்வேன், தடுப்பதென்றால் தனக்கு கோட்டோடரை கொண்டு வாருங்கள் என்று அடாத்தாக நிற்கின்றார். அது யாருக்கும் அடங்குவதாக இல்லை. எனவே இது போன்ற செயல்களை எங்கள் தண்ணீர் மற்றது நாங்கள் சுவாசிக்கின்ற காற்று என்பதை பழுதாக்காமல் இந்த முன்னேற்றங்களை செய்ய வேண்டும் என்று, சூழலை மாசடையாமல் செய்ய வேண்டும் என்று தயவாக கேட்டுக்கொள்கின்றேன். இதுக்கான பதில்களையும் விளங்குமாறு கேட்டுக்கொண்டேன். இங்கே வடமராட்சி தெற்கு மேற்கு பிரதேச சபை தவிசாளரும் இருக்கின்றார், அவரிடம் நீங்கள் கேட்டுக்கொள்ளலாம். நன்றி.
நன்றி நன்றி.
Thank you very much for your suggestion. I don't think that the whole well system could be able to supply our drinking water requirement here in Jaffna. The entire peninsula, we have to have a proper water supply system. So Jaffna doesn't have any kind of a river, so we have to somehow collect the rainwater plus kind of a water project from Iranamadu. I think